carried the team really good. Let's see what I got.
Man, do I love RNG. What is up, guys? Mr. Syndicate here, and I'm going to teach you how to recognize a good roll from a weapon drop. I'm going to start off by showing you 4 guns with different rolls, 2 good, 2 bad. After that, I will show you what perks to look for. Let's get started. Let's start things off with this last extremity scout rifle I got from a Crucible drop. It has some decent perks like Icarus and Grenadier. Icarus suits a very fast playstyle since it is harder to hit you in the air and you can easily return fire without being hit much back. The middle perks are Lightweight and Rifled Barrel. Lightweight is clearly the better option because Rifled Barrel adds range, but scout rifles already have a great amount of range to them. The final 2 perks are Grenadier and Danger Close. Grenadier is a really great choice if your build revolves around high discipline, meaning that you want to throw a lot of grenades, like for instance a Firebolt Warlock. Danger Close may be good too because of its benefits when 2 enemies show up near you. How's this roll? It's a good roll since the perks significantly influence the gameplay functionality in a good way. So next up I'm going to show you this Red Spectre roll. The first perk is Crowd Control. The middle perks are Fitted Stock, Oiled Frame, and Reinforced Barrel. The final perk is Surrounded. Let me just say, I really like the concept of a roll like this, but in practice it's terrible because of the perk design. Look at the game clip on screen to see how long the Crowd Control perk stays procced. As you just saw, the time that Crowd Control stays procced is not enough to get to another enemy in time to take advantage of the perk. Crowd Control is pretty much useless. What about Surrounded though? Surrounded is also useless because you won't find yourself in many situations where you'll have 3 enemies near you in Crucible. Surrounded is only likely to proc in 6v6. But even if you did come across a group of 3 enemies, you would immediately be cut down before you have any chance to take advantage of the perk. On the contrary, this would make a great PvE roll if it weren't an auto rifle. Why that is so is because auto rifles are not good at taking care of captains or Hallowed Knights or any other high tier enemy. This roll would work better on a scout rifle, hand cannon, or heavy machine gun, or basically anything that does high damage per round. So how is this roll? For the reasons mentioned earlier, it is very useless. Again, I would like to say that this is a really nice concept for a roll, but the perk design isn't that great. Our next example is the original vendor roll for the Hongjury SR4. The first perk is Triple Tap. The middle perks are Extended Mag and Hand-Laid Stock. The final perks are Firefly and Underdog. What makes this gun and roll in particular really great is because of the synergy between each perk. Firefly and Extended Mag are great for controlling large crowds like these Thrall. Extended Mag and Triple Tap is also great for sinking a lot of headshots into any boss. So how's this roll? It is very close to being so perfect. It's godly. Moving on, our final example is Colovan's Duty. The first perk is Final Round. The middle perks are Explosive Rounds, Casket Mag, and Custom Optics. The final perk is Guerrilla Fighter. Now this right here is probably the epitome of a really useless roll. Final Round is impractical because of the archetype of scout rifle. The reason why is you would only use up to 4 rounds just to kill someone. Any sane person would reload whenever they can. Even after killing 2 or 3 enemies in succession, the perk is still not taken advantage of because of the little amount of rounds required to kill someone with a scout rifle like this. While forcing Final Round to proc may result in a 2 headshot kill, doing so is way too tedious to be regularly doing in a Crucible situation. Then we have Guerrilla Fighter. The idea of Guerrilla Fighter is to give you an advantage when shooting from behind cover. How does that work? It works like this. Do you find yourself doing that very often? Try as often as you like, but the perk is still useless. There are next to no places to peek over cover in Crucible maps. Trying to use this perk is also a bad idea because you must be on the move to help your team and get any kills or objectives scored. In PvE, Guerrilla Fighter is only somewhat useful if you are fighting a high amount of majors, but the advantages it gives you are more extraneous and redundant than helpful. Final round is immediately pointless since the extra damage is not significant enough to kill anything faster. So what was the point of me showing you a bunch of examples of roles? It was so you could get an idea of what a useful role looks like. What goes into a good perk is how good the perk effect is and how often you can actually use it. A perfect example is the Grenadier perk. What you need to do is analyze the description a little. The perk itself reads, "Kills with this weapon reduce the cooldown of your grenade." In most scenarios, killing enemies is a very common thing to do, and by doing that you get more grenades. So why is this a great perk? It's because it's a benefit you can constantly count on. This is also the reason why Surrounded is a terrible perk. Partially because it's not straightforward enough to be executed constantly, therefore rendering it mostly impractical. Being in the presence of 3 people is a bit too specific when compared to just killing a person. It's not good enough to have a perk that's, quote, useful in certain situations, because you can't use it all the time. So my overall advice is to make sure the perks you get have a useful effect that can be used often. When you see a perk that looks good to you, try it out and see how often it is utilized. If it is used often, then the perk should do you great things for your playstyle. Thank you for tuning in. This is Mr. Zindicate signing out. Have a good one.